New Black Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up. Literature that's for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. If we all just come together, there's no limit for us. Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
All right, beautiful people, man. Beautiful people, good evening to you. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club, our After Dark edition, as we're continuing our journey into the University of Success. And so we've been having a wonderful time. I believe yesterday we talked about how to be enthusiastic and stay that way. And today we're going to be discussing how to eliminate bad habits. How to eliminate bad habits. Now, I believe we should be able to get through this lesson here, which is lesson 20. And we will be able to move into next week, moving into semester number 5 in the University of Success. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified global financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, the Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. Book that I wrote, guys, a study of Black wealth. It's a study of the 12 richest Black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that's a big if. But I believe that if you want to do that, I recommend that you study wealthy people. And you can begin that study by picking up a book. It's a book called The Black Billionaires Club, which you can find by simply going to the website, theblackbillionairesclub.com, theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up your copy today. And so I am going to get here on my Instagram, make it do what it do on my Instagram here tonight. Man, what's roll call time? Let's find out who's joined us here tonight. While you're here, go and let us know what city, what state, what country you might be connected from, what city, what state, what country you might be connected from here tonight. How to eliminate bad habits. Let's talk about that tonight. I can't wait. I got some bad habits I gotta get rid of. I mean, my goodness, I don't know what's going on. What city, what state, what country you might be connected from here tonight? Love to know just how far our reach is here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club After Dark series. We are broadcasting from the World Wide Web here in our virtual studios in Decatur, where it's greater. Decatur, where it's greater. I'd love to know just how far our reach is here tonight. Good evening to you. Miss Vivian Reed is in the building. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Miss Vivian Reed is in the house, and we have to change this. How to eliminate bad habits. 1 second here. How to eliminate. Everybody put in comments on eliminate. If you got some bad habits that you know it's time for you to break or eliminate, go put in comments below. Eliminate. How to eliminate bad habits. Now, as we move into this thing, again, we're reading at night because it's a great time to capture, a great time to meditate as well, as you might be preparing for bed or everything's starting to slow down, and you can actually capture some stuff here tonight. Our first, I guess, introduction to this chapter or to this lesson, it says this, that your net worth is usually determined by what remains after your bad habits are subtracted from your good ones. Your net worth to the world is usually determined by what remains after your bad habits are subtracted from your good ones. Your net worth. All right. And this is going to be an excerpt from Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, he must have wrote something here that they're breaking out for us to learn a lesson from Benjamin Franklin, how to eliminate bad habits. New Black Wall Street Book Club. All right. After Dark edition. Let's read. Rare is the wise man who has not had a definite opinion about habits. John Dryden said, we first make our habits and then our habits make us. We first make our habits, then our habits make us. Horace Mann wrote, habit is a cable. We weave a thread of it every day, and at last we cannot break it. And Samuel Johnson exclaimed, the chains of habit are generally too small to be felt until they are too strong to be broken. Until they're too strong to be broken. If this classroom is packed beyond its capacity, it is because you have all gathered here for the same purpose. Here, America's first authentic genius, Benjamin Franklin, described to you in his own characteristic style exactly how he broke the chains of his own bad habits, habits that would have prevented him from ever reaching the stature that he finally attained. During your lifetime, you have accumulated thousands of habits. Most of them are good ones. Some are even necessary for your survival. For example, you probably drive an automobile one or more times each day. Soon after your first driving lesson, the countless actions necessary to pilot your vehicles became habits. If you always had to stop and think before you engaged in every step necessary to drive, you would probably become a highway fatality in short order. Along with all those good habits, however, you also have some that are harmful. And if you were pressed, you could probably compile a fairly complete list of them. You might even admit, if you happen to feel sorry for yourself, that you realize they are holding you back, but you just don't know what to do about them. Well, that won't be your excuse any longer after Mr. Franklin, in his excerpt from the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, has had a talk with you. So we're going to hear from the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. He's going to have a talk with us about eliminating bad habits. Though I seldom attended any public worship, I still had an opinion of its propriety and of its utility when rightly conducted. And I regularly paid my annual subscription for the support of the only Presbyterian minister or meeting we had in Philadelphia. He used to visit me sometimes as a friend and admonished me to attend his administrations. And I was now and then prevailed on to do so once for 5 Sundays successively. He had been, in my opinion, a good preacher. Perhaps I might have continued, notwithstanding the occasion I had for the Sunday's leisure in my course of study. But his discourses were chiefly either polemic arguments or explications of the peculiar doctrines of our sect, and were all to me very dry, uninteresting, and unedifying, since not a single moral principle was inculcated or enforced, their aim seeming to be rather to make us Presbyterians than good citizens. At length he took for his text the verse in the 4th chapter of Philippians. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true or honest, pure, or just, lovely, or of good report, if there be any virtue or any praise, think on these things. And I imagine in a sermon of such text, we could not miss on having some morality. But he confined himself to 5 points only as meant by the apostle, namely, number 1, keeping holy the Sabbath day. Number 2, being diligent in reading the Holy Scriptures. Number 3, attending duly the public worship. Number 4, partaking of the sacrament. And number 5, paying a due respect to God's ministers. These might be all good things, but they were not the kind of good things that I expected from the text. I despaired of ever meeting with them, for any other was disgusted, and attended his preaching no more. As some years before composed a little liturgy or a form of prayer for my own private use, entitled Articles of Belief and Acts of Religion. I returned to the use of this and went no more to the public assemblies. My conduct might be blamable, but I leave it without attempting further to excuse it. My present purpose being to relate facts and not to make apologies for them. So this is a brother, seems like he started going to church. He got mad just like me. And the bold and arduous project of arriving at moral perfection. It's about this time I conceived the bold and arduous project of arriving at moral perfection. I wish to live without committing any fault at any time. I will conquer all that either natural inclination, custom, or company might lead me into, as I knew or thought I knew what was right and wrong. I did not see why I might not always do the one and avoid the other, but I soon found I had undertaken a task of more difficulty than I had imagined. While my care was employed in guarding against one fault, I was often surprised by another. Habit took the advantage of attention. Inclination was something too strong for reason. I concluded at length that the mere speculative conviction that it was our interest to be completely virtuous and not sufficient to prevent our slipping, and that the contrary habits must be broken and good ones acquired and established before we can have any dependence on a steady, uniform rectitude of conduct. For this purpose, I therefore contrived the following method. Here's the method. In the various enumerations of the moral virtues I had met with in my reading, I found a catalog more or less numerous, as different writers included more or fewer words under the same name. Temperance, for example, was by some confined to eating and drinking, while others it was extended to mean moderation of every pleasure, appetite, inclination, or passion, bodily or mental, even to our avarice and ambition. I proposed to myself, for the sake of clearness, to use rather more names with fewer ideas annexed to each than a few names with more ideas. And I concluded under 13 names of virtues, all that at that time occurred to me as necessary or desirable, and annexed to each a short precept which fully expressed the extent I gave to its meaning. The names of the virtues with their precepts were, number one, temperance. Temperance. Temperance, it says, eat not to dullness, drink not to elevation. The second virtue, silence. Silence. Right? Speak not, but what may benefit others of yourself or yourself. Avoid trifling conversations. Avoid trifling conversations. Number three, order. Order. Let all your things have their places. Let each part of your business have its time. Number four, resolution. Resolve to perform what you ought. Perform without fail what you resolve. Resolve to perform what you ought. Perform without fail what you resolve. Number five, frugality. Make no expense but to do good to others or yourself. That is waste nothing. Waste nothing. Industry. There's number six, industry. Lose no time. Be always employed in something useful. Cut off all unnecessary actions. Cut off all unnecessary actions. Number seven, sincerity. Use no hurtful deceit. Think innocently and justly, and if you speak, speak accordingly. Number eight, justice. Wrong none by doing injuries or omitting the benefits that are your duty. Number nine, moderation. Avoid extremes. Forbear resenting injuries so much as you think they deserve. Number 10, cleanliness. Tolerate no uncleanliness in body, clothes, or habitation. Number 11, tranquility. Be not disturbed at trifles or at accidents common or unavoidable. Tranquility is another word for peace, by the way. Number 12, chastity. Rarely use venery, but for health or offspring, never to dullness, weakness, or the injury of your own or another's peace or reputation. I don't know what venery is. Venery. Venerer. I don't know what that is. Rarely use venery. It must be something bad because it said, but for health or offspring. I don't understand this one. Maybe if I understood what venery was. Number 13, humility. Imitate Jesus and Socrates. Imitate Jesus and Socrates. My intention being to acquire the habitude of all these virtues, I judged it would be well not to distract my attention by attempting the whole at once, but to fix it on one of them at a time. And when I should be master of that, then to proceed to another, and so on, till I should have gone through the 13 as the previous acquisition of some might facilitate the acquisition of certain others. I arranged them with that view as they stand above. Temperance first, as it tends to procure the coolness and clearness of head, which is so necessary, where constant vigilance was to be kept up and guard maintained against the unremitting attraction of ancient habits and the force of perpetual temptations. This being acquired and established, silence would be more easy. And my desire being to gain knowledge at the same time that I've improved in virtue, and considering that in conversation it was obtained rather than by the use of the ears, than of the tongue, and therefore wishing to break a habit I was getting into of prattling, puning, and joking, which only made me acceptable to trifling company. I gave silence the second place. This and the next order I expected would allow me more time for attending to my project and my studies. Resolution, once become habitual, would keep me firm in my endeavors to obtain all the subsequent virtues. Frugality and industry, freeing me from my remaining debt and producing affluence and independence, would make more easy to practice sincerity and justice and so forth. Conceiving then that agreeably to the advice of the Pythagoras in his golden verses, daily examination would be necessary. Daily examination would be necessary. Daily examination would be necessary. Everybody put in console daily. Daily imagination would be necessary. Venery, oh Lord, what? Wait a second. Chastity, rarely, wait a second, wait a second, rarely use sex. Venery means sex? Rarely have sex too much. That would have said sexual indulgence. Oh Lord. Oh, but for health. Okay. Okay, so when I'm feeling a little down, when I'm a little sick, I can have some sex. If I want to improve, I want to sweat a little bit. Okay, for health. That's health. That's healthy. Okay, I'm sorry. Woo. What do we call upon examination committed? Wait, Daily examination would be necessary. I could try the following method for conducting that examination. I made a little book in which I allotted a page for each of the virtues. I ruled each page with red ink so as to have 7 columns, one for each day of the week, marking each column with a letter for the day. I crossed these columns with 13 red lines, marking the beginning of each line with the first letter of one of the virtues on which line, and in its proper column, I might mark by a little black spot every fault I found upon examination to have been committing respecting that virtue upon that day. I determined to give a week's strict attention to each of the virtues successfully. Thus, in the first week, my great guard was to avoid even the least offense against temperance, leaving the other virtues to do their ordinary chance, only marking every evening of the faults of the day. Thus, if in the first week I could keep my first line marked T, clear of spots, I suppose the habit of that virtue so much strengthened and its opposite weakened that I might venture extending my attention to include the next, and for the following week keep both lines clear of spots. Proceeding thus to the last, I could go through a course complete in 13 weeks or in 4 courses in a year. And like him who, having a garden to weed, does not attempt to eradicate all of the bad herbs at once, which would exceed his reach and his strength, but works on one of the beds at a time, and having accomplished the first proceeds to the second, so I should have, I hope, the encouraging pleasure of seeing on my pages the progress. Everybody put in console progress. The progress I made in virtue by clearing successfully my lines in their spots, till in the end, by a number of courses, I should be happy in viewing a clean book after 13 weeks of daily examination. Now, this is commitment as well. Commitment to progress. Hey, I've discovered this stuff for myself, and I figured I need to go through it, and here's going to be my method, or here's going to be my strategy as I work on my plan for progress. How many guys got a plan for progress and things that you find yourself participating in? You got a plan for progress, right? See, progress should be, it's something that you can measure, by the way. If you looked at his line and he didn't have any bad spots, well, that was a good day. If you looked at the end of the day, he re-examined for the rest of the day, he had some spots, that was a bad day. See, he could measure his progress. That's why numbers are so easy. Well, I can say, okay, I'm gonna look to grow my account for 25,000 or 40,000 by the end of the month, and then I could track that progress. How many guys got tracking systems in place for the progress, for your progress within your plan? Got a plan, you worked on the strategy, did you include a place where you can measure your progress? Oh, this is such a big word. Now, this could be progress as it relates to business that you're doing. This could be progress in your attitude. This could be progress as far as a relationship is concerned. But we're talking about progress. Woo! I entered upon the execution of this plan for self-examination and continued it with occasional intermissions for some time. I was surprised to find myself so much fuller of faults than I had imagined. Oh, think about that for a second. You start examining yourself for real. And you got this guideline by which you go by. Say, you know what? I'm examining myself based upon this checklist. You might find just like he found. He said, I found so much fuller of faults. So many things I do wrong. Now, here's the beautiful thing about recognizing what you might do wrong is that now you are aware, and then you can begin to work on it. See, once you become aware of your faults, not the faults that you know of, because those are pretty big, but you got some small little stuff. You got some little stuff that might be holding you back as well. But once you become aware of it, then you can say, I noticed that now, and I can actually work on it. Can't work on what you're not aware of. Let me say that again for the people in the back. They just might woke up. You cannot work on what you are unaware of. This is why it's important, your brothers. This is why it's important for you to go get your checkups, right? There may be some things that's going on in your body that you're not aware of, and you can't work on it if you're not aware of it. You hear what I'm saying? You don't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Become aware. If something's going on with your car, you don't go get it checked up, go get your tune up and stuff like that. Might be something going on up under the hood that you're not aware of. Can't fix what you're not aware of. To avoid the trouble of renewing now and then my little book, which by scraping out the remarks on the paper of old faults to make room for new ones in a new course became full of holes, I transferred my tables and precepts to the ivory leaves of a Miranda book, in which the lines were drawn with red ink to make that made a durable stain. And on those lines, I marked my faults with a black lead pencil, with which marks I could easily wipe out with a wet sponge. After a while, I went through one course only in a year, and afterward only in several years, till at length I omitted them entirely, being employed in voyages and business abroad with a multiplicity of affairs that interfered, but I always carried my little book with me. My list of virtues contained at least at first but 12, but a Quaker friend having kindly informed me that I was generally thought proud, that my pride showed itself frequently in conversation, that I was not content with being in the right when discussing any point, but was overbearing and rather insolent, of which he could convince me by mentioning several instances. I determined endeavoring to cure myself, if I could, of this vice or folly among the rest, and I added humility to my list, giving an extensive meaning of the word. I cannot boast of much success in acquiring the reality of this virtue, but I had a good deal with regard to the appearance of it. I made it a rule to forbear all direct contradiction to the sentiments of others, and all positive assertion of my own. I even forbade myself, agreeably to the old laws of our junto, the use of every word or expression in the language that indicated a fixed opinion, such as certainly, undoubtedly, and so forth, and I adopted instead of them, I conceive, I apprehend, or I imagine. He even started changing the way that he talks. Y'all hear what he's saying? When another asserted something that I thought of an error, I did not. He's saying, you know what? I was just paying attention to some of the stuff I was saying and how I was acting, and I basically fixed myself. I forbade myself from doing stuff. I started changing the way that I talk, changing my vocabulary. If it offended somebody, I didn't want to offend anybody, so I went ahead and changed, because I don't think they're going to change anyway. When another asserted something that I thought an error, I denied myself the pleasure of contradicting him abruptly and of showing him immediately some absurdity in his proposition. And in answering, I began by observing that in certain cases or circumstances, his opinion would be right. But in the present case, there appeared or seemed to be some difference, and so forth. I soon found the advantage of this change in my manner. The conversation I engaged in went on more pleasantly. The modest way in which I proposed my opinions procured them in a readier reception and less contradiction. And I had less mortification when I was found to be in the wrong, and I more easily prevailed with others to give up their mistakes and join with me when I happened to be in the right. And this mode, which I at first put on with some violence to natural inclination, became at length so easy and so habitual to me that perhaps for these 50 years past, no one has ever heard of a dogmatical expression escape me. And to this habit, after my character of integrity, I think a principally owing that I had early so much weight with my fellow citizens when I proposed a new institution or alterations in the old, and so much influence in public councils when I became a member. For I was but a bad speaker, never eloquent, subject to much hesitation in my choice of words, hardly correct in language, and yet I generally carried my points. And so he's saying here, man, for what I'm getting, you guys will be getting something as well, as in his search to become a better person, right? Let's just call it that. He called it moral perfection, but in his search to become a better human being with other people, he started basically he put together his 12 virtues, which he kind of got from the Bible and expanded on, defined them himself, and then decided to pay attention to how he was communicating with others and how others were responding to his communication. And then he started saying stuff like this: I forbade myself. I kept myself from doing this. He basically saying, man, he told himself no, which is what many people simply don't do nowadays. People nowadays simply think they can get anything that they want. They don't tell themselves no. He said, I started telling myself no. Nope, you're not going to respond like that. Nope, you ain't going to do it how you used to do it. He started telling himself no. In other words, he was willing to work on himself. He was willing to work on himself. Now, this is very difficult because the first means is you got to see who you really are, your good and your bad. I think we said something yesterday. We said embrace reality. Embrace reality and deal with it. Yeah, embrace reality and deal with it. Now, I'm pretty sure you connected quite a few people who simply don't embrace reality. Therefore, they can't deal with it. Like, this is what's really going on. But in their mind, it's something else. Embrace reality and deal with it. So this is our time here tonight, beautiful people. Look at that. 25 minutes. We're doing well. Lesson number 19. We're finishing up semester number 4. And tonight we talked about how to eliminate your bad habits. Now, I don't know. He put a method together. He showed you exactly what he did to eliminate bad habits for him. Question is, will you pick some of this stuff up for yourself? Will you implement some of these things up for yourself or not? I don't know, hopefully you caught the whole message. I don't know. But at any rate, this is the New Black Wall Street Book Club After Dark series. Spend a little time at night. We spend a little time at at night to get our everlasting mind right. That's right. Ms. Vivery said, no, I will not eat that apple pie. That's right. You practice right now. Practice telling yourself no and eliminate some of these bad habits, whatever they may be, whether they be in your financial life, your physical life, your social life, your mind, your mental life, whatever area you notice that, hey, I've been realizing I got to fix this. Just trust and believe that you absolutely can fix it. Okay, you absolutely can fix it. If you were first, I would say take a little moment to recognize it, define it. Recognize and define these habits that you might have that are not leading you closer to where you want to be. I would call that a bad habit. I'm your host, RGJ, Certified Global Financial Educator. If you took something from tonight, go ahead and put in the console some pineapples, get some pineapples in the chat. Please just indicating that you got something from tonight, that it made a difference. It's making a difference in your life as well. We read at night so that we can allow the message to sit with us as we may go to bed and meditate before we go to bed if you choose to do that. And so hopefully you got a message from us here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club. I want you guys to remember this, man, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, all we really need. Thank God. That's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
New black. It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club. With your host, Evan Jefferson. It's time for us to go. Yeah. Now, you ain't got to leave the computer, but we encourage you to get out there and learn and apply all the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Yeah. The New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street Book Club.